Hi, I'm Mary Polcheninoff, and welcome back to Sure Things. Very excited about today's program. Today we are again going to visit one of the gems of the shoreline. I'd like to welcome our guest for today's show, Ranger Russ Miller. Hello, Ranger Russ. How are you today?
Hello, it's great to be here. It's a beautiful day at Hammonasset. A little cloudy, but it's still beautiful.
It's still beautiful. So Ranger Russ is at Meigs Point Nature Center out at Hammonasset and is joining us today to talk about a little bit about your background and what's going on. And I'm just so interested to talk about all the programs you have available, even during this time when people can't come in the center. So to start with Ranger Russ, I wondered if he could start by just telling us a little bit about you and your background, how you ended up there at Hammonasset.
That story begins when I was about 3 years old. My mother told me that the first thing when people would ask me what I wanted to do when I grew up is I used to tell them that I wanted to work for Smokey Bear. So from that point on, this has been my path in college, even before college. The classes, the teachers that I had in grade school and high school really helped me on this naturalist path where they would take me out and let me catch snakes. In 8th grade, I was catching snakes, and in high school, I was snorkeling for classes, and I've just got to expand on that until I started working for the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection right out of college.
Yeah.
Got into a nature center in 1995 and haven't looked back since. I've been here at Hammonasset since 2001.
2001. So did you grow up in the area?
I grew up in Uncasville. Okay. So not right on the shoreline. When I first started with the state, I had an option to go to a woodland park or a shoreline park. And I chose the shoreline because I didn't know a lot about it.
Yeah.
And now it's that's my niche now is I'm the shoreline educator.
Wow. And you've been at Hammonasset for quite a while. You said from 2001? Is that what you said? Wow, that's awesome. What college did you end up going to study, to be prepared to be a ranger?
I got an associate's degree at Northwestern Connecticut Community College in Winstead.
Yeah.
That was in park and recreation management, so it was along the same lines. And then I got my Bachelor of Science degree from Eastern State University.
Oh, Eastern, so you were just Connecticut, born and raised, and there you go.
Yeah.
Great. And now we have you in the gem of the shoreline at Meigs Nature Center, which is great. So you're closed now, right, with COVID?
Yes, unfortunately, we closed last March.
Oh, so you've been closed the whole time.
Yeah.
Did you do anything in the summer with outside programs, or were you just all virtual?
We started doing, so Facebook Live, we started 3 days after they told us we were closing the building.
Yeah.
I started doing Facebook Live programs, and I had 400 people tune into that first program. So we really hit the ground running right off the bat. And then we've been doing scout groups and smaller groups like that through Zoom and Facebook and other online media ever since.
Do you still do the Facebook ones?
Yeah, I do Facebook Live every Tuesday through Friday at 11 o'clock. We started out doing them twice a day for 4 days a week, and now we're down to once a day. But now we've started doing our lecture series. We have guest lecturers on a Zoom meeting, which we then stream onto Facebook Live every Saturday at 10 o'clock. So yeah, we're going full out with as many programs as we can fit in.
And so what type of programs would you be doing on the Facebook Live? Because that's every day.
That is, it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of focus on one species of animal for the day, or I'll do a walk, either here in the park. I go to other state parks and visit them. I'm going to be starting up doing interviews with other state employees. So I want to reach out to the state biologists and other people that I can, tap in on their expertise.
Sure.
I've done some Native American story programs, some art and craft type programs through nature. I've done science experiments. So you name it, I've tried it.
And how long is your program? So it's every day 11 till
Generally, it's a half hour, but
Half hour.
sometimes when I get out into another state park, that will go on for a full hour, where there's just so much to see and I'm just walking. I get really excited and distracted, so I don't really look at the clock.
Yeah.
And I just go until I run out of things to talk about sometimes. So
Wow, that's awesome. Now you're in that beautiful new building. How recent is that building? Is it a couple of years or?
it opened in 2016, so only a few years old, yeah.
Yeah, and it's gorgeous. I did have the opportunity to bring my grandson in to look at the animals and some of the exhibits, which was wonderful a couple of years ago. So what's happening now? Are you there by yourself, you mentioned, in the building?
Yeah, we do have some volunteers that come in and help feed the animals. So the animal care still has to happen. We have just as many animals now as we did when we were open. So we've got volunteers. I have usually 1 or 2 staff people, but we try and rotate our schedules so that we're not overlapping, and the volunteers come in a staggered schedule as well, so that we're not exposing ourselves to each other.
Ranger Russ, do you get to also work with some of the schools, you know, with a lot of the virtual learning now, a lot of schools go back and forth. Do you have programs or lessons available for those, even parents at home that might be schooling their kids?
Absolutely. And when we started out, our primary audience were students that were not in school. So they were looking for alternative things to do during the day. Yeah. Now that all the schools are virtual, my audience are mostly adults that are stuck at home with nothing to do. But all of the videos that I have done get archived. They're on our YouTube channel, Meigs Point Nature Center YouTube channel. And then they're also on the website at meigspointnaturecenter.org. If you visit the Virtual Learning Center, you can see all 280 some odd videos that I've done. And then we add educational content like vocabulary lists, word searches. There are activities that go along with the videos that homeschools or students can use anytime they want.
Wow, do you have a helper to do all that for the curriculum, or are you just working at it?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we depend so much on volunteers. Yeah. So my part is really just filming it live. And then I have volunteers that will put it up on YouTube and on the website, and then other volunteers that gather the vocabulary words and other educational content that they can find and put on. So we figured it out, every hour that I do live, there's about 4 hours that go behind the scenes to add to the content of the video.
Wow. And I noticed on the website, at least when you clicked on the website, there's a camera on, is it the osprey nest? Was that on the website?
Yes. So we've got a live stream from our osprey nest. Even though the osprey aren't nesting right now, sometimes there'll be a gull on the nest. But it's really a great way to see the weather here at Hammonasset, because you'll be able to tell pretty much what the weather's doing by looking at that camera.
Yeah, I noticed that. I thought that was pretty interesting. What type of animals do you have at the Nature Center?
We have a little of everything, really. There's a couple of birds. You can see the turtles right behind me, some snakes, frogs, fish, shellfish. And the fish range everything from freshwater to saltwater. We've got some brackish water tanks as well. So there's a wide variety of animals here at the Nature Center right now. That's
wonderful. And you're going to be able to show us some animals?
Yeah, you want to take a look at one now?
I would love to.
So I'm going to grab a turtle here. And this is one of the most popular. Now, when I do the live animal programs, I always say this is my favorite animal. And people were making fun of me because every one of them is my favorite animal. But an educator that was sort of my mentor when I started with the DEEP doing nature centers said that your favorite animal is the one that you're learning about at that moment. So it's okay that I have lots of favorites.
There you go.
So the stink pot is one of the most fascinating animals in Connecticut. This is as large as they get. This is a very large stink pot turtle.
Is that really what they call it, stink pot?
Yeah, it's a musk turtle.
Okay.
So it smells kind of like a skunk.
Oh.
very, very potent smell. And that's because this is as big as they get. So its defense is to smell really bad and taste even worse. Okay. If you can imagine something trying to eat it and then getting that smell in their mouth, they're not going to want to eat that turtle. But as fascinating as it is that this turtle can smell like a skunk as a defense, it also is the only turtle that we know of in the world that climbs trees. Wow. And we're not just talking about crawling up on a log next to a river. These will climb up to 16 feet up into a tree. They've been found 16 feet in trees.
Now, where are they native?
All over Connecticut.
Oh, they are in Connecticut. Okay.
Yep.
Are all your animals native Connecticut?
Great question. And most of the animals are native, but we have a few that are either an exotic or an invasive, but they're still found in Connecticut. Okay. So everything in the Nature Center is related to Connecticut.
Okay. And does your favorite turtle there, the stinkpot turtle, have you named them? Do they have names?
We do have names, but we don't usually give out the names. We don't want people to think of them as pets. So that's one of the things. We have many animals here that were taken from the wild as babies, and now they can't go back to the wild. So by us just referring to it as a stinkpot or a musk turtle, we have a name. When it goes to the vet, it has a name on file at the vet. But again, we try and make people realize that these are wild animals and they are much better in the wild than here at the Nature Center as pets. Unfortunately, most of the animals that we have are not able to survive in the wild. So they are here for education, but they don't make very good pets for the most part.
Wow, that is an interesting distinction. That's so interesting to learn about the names and regarding it as a pet. How do you get the animals for the Nature Center?
Some of them are just dropped off here, but most of them, people call us and say, I have this turtle or that turtle or a snake, and I don't want it anymore, so can you take it? And that's how we get most of them. A few have come from other nature centers. Some of them have been injured, but like I said, most of them were taken to be pets and then can't go back into the wild.
And they can't go back. Good, thanks. Well, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, I hope to see some more animals with Ranger Russ.
Valley Shore Community Television is constantly adapting to the demands of our viewers. Busy schedules are making it hard for viewers to watch shows when they air.
Television has changed dramatically. We don't have to be appointment viewers or listeners anymore.
No.
We can do this in real time.
VSC TV has made it easy to watch all our locally produced content online and when you want it. Visit vsctv.com and click on the Watch Online tab to watch live, or visit our local show playlist to easily navigate your favorite shows anywhere, anytime, and on any device. VSC TV is your local Connecticut Mid-Shore Valley digital connection.
Welcome back to Sure Things. Today, my guest is Ranger Russ from Meigs Point Nature Center. Welcome back, Ranger Russ.
Thank you.
So we got to see the stinkpot turtle. I always feel like I'm calling it the wrong name when I say that. It just sounds like something somebody made up. But I get from what you said with its natural defenses, how that helps it. And I'm amazed that they're found in Connecticut. That's amazing. So can you show us some more animals?
Absolutely. So this is one of the snakes that we have here at the Nature Center. This is an eastern rat snake. Many people just know these as black snakes because they are black. But we have a couple of different snakes that are black in Connecticut, so that gets confusing. The eastern rat is the longest snake in North America. They get up to 8 feet long, and they love to climb trees. This is our real tree climbing snake that we have here in the state. They do eat rats and mice, but they also, because they're tree climbers, they eat birds. They'll raid birds' nests and eat their eggs as well as the birds.
Oh, wow. And again, a native of Connecticut. But
Yes.
not dangerous to humans?
They could bite, but it's just going to be a little circle of holes that they leave behind.
Yeah, yeah. So I imagine that rat snake, when it comes to feeding time, you must have to have a supply of animals that they would enjoy.
Yep, and that's really the main use of our old building, is to
Okay.
keep the things that we're feeding the animals in the new building. So we raise our own mice over there. We have tanks of fish for the animals that eat fish. And there are refrigerators and freezers over there where the food is also kept.
So that older building, which used to be the nature center, right?
Mm-hmm.
So wow, that is so amazing how you're using it. So that is all for the food for the animals in the new nature center.
There are also a couple of classrooms over there, which we still use when we're doing large school groups,
Yeah.
and we can't fit them all in the new building. They will go into the old building. In the summertime, we do craft projects on the back porch over there. You know, it's nice to be out in the fresh air. The new building is great, but there's not really an outside space for doing programs.
Right.
So we still use the old building quite a bit.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's a wonderful resource for everything. How long would your rat snake, the lifespan of that rat snake? How long?
So in the wild, they're going to live maybe 17 years. They're going to max out at 17 years. In captivity, they can live into the low 20s, so 21, 22 years old in captivity. Sometimes, and it's not proven yet, but some people say that they've had them longer than that in captivity.
Wow.
But the record is 22 years old.
As far as the other animals, your animals in the nature center, who does live the longest? Is it the turtles? Do they have the longest lifespan?
Yeah, our snapping turtles, there are a couple in the bottom over here behind me, they live over 100 years. A box turtle also can live a long time. They can get up to 100 years. Actually, let me grab a box turtle.
Sure. Wow, I'm enjoying this so much, seeing the different animals. And I'm sure you can't wait till the whole center opens so everyone can get in there and see the exhibits and see the offerings there, because it is an amazing center.
Yeah, that's really important for us. And I'm glad you mentioned about that you didn't realize that the stink pot was native to Connecticut.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the things that people see when they come here are new to them, and they weren't aware of how fascinating Connecticut's wildlife is.
Right.
So this is one of our box turtles. We have a male and a female box turtle. And this is the male. The males have brighter colored eyes. That's one of the ways you can tell males from females.
Yeah.
In most turtles, the girls are larger than the boys. But in the box turtle, the boys get to be about the same size as the girls. So that doesn't really apply to them. And the reason that these are called box turtles, now he got hit by a car 30 some odd years ago now, and he was at another nature center doing education. When we opened the new building, they donated him to us. So he's not scared. He will not go inside of his shell like a wild box turtle will. But he could go inside, he could pull his head and legs in and close this. He can pull his rear legs in and his tail in and close the back. He has a line right here that allows him to close both trap doors and seal himself. He boxes himself inside of his shell.
They would do that. Is that just a protective device? So if they're scared, they're going to just go inside their shell?
Absolutely.
For
So
protection.
box turtles, they don't swim very well. They sort of do a doggy paddle, or they can hold their breath and walk underneath water, but they're not really fast swimmers. They're even slower walkers. So their only defense is to seal themselves inside that shell, which unfortunately doesn't work for a car. That's why they end up getting hit by cars.
Yeah.
Is that a car comes at them, they just seal themselves inside.
Yeah. Now, with
But
something
there's-
with the turtles, I'm sorry for interrupting, something with the turtles, when we see some of the nature shows and we see the turtles that come out of the ocean and they lay their eggs and they go back in. So when you have your turtles there, is there a habitat for them to go through that where they lay their eggs and you hatch other turtles?
So we usually don't have any reproduction here at the Nature Center. We don't let them stay together. When it gets breeding season, they get separated.
Okay.
Just because it takes a lot of work, and you actually need special permits and licenses to, especially a turtle like this that is listed. It's not endangered right now. I think it's listed as a species of special concern. There are even more permits that go into allowing them to reproduce. So typically we're going to separate them at that time. Once in a while, one of them will lay an egg, but usually it's not going to be able to, it's not a viable egg.
Oh, I didn't know that. And what do the turtles eat?
So the aquatic turtles eat a lot of fish. They'll eat some worms, shrimp, and we have turtle sticks. Their main diet is a stick that's made up of all the nutrients that they need. The land turtles, like a box turtle, they eat a combination of moistened dog food and some mealy worms, maybe a cricket, lots of fruits and vegetables. They eat just about any fruit or vegetable you can imagine, they're going to eat it.
So when you have volunteers come in to help out with the feeding of the animals, do they have shifts during the day, or do they say, okay, 3 o'clock everyone's getting fed? How do you organize that whole care of the animals?
There are shifts during the day. So tomorrow morning, let's go through tomorrow morning. We have someone coming in to do the birds first thing in the morning. Then after that, someone will come and do the amphibians. And then after that, we have someone that comes in and does the fish.
Okay.
And then after that, someone will do the turtles. So we're spread out throughout the day. All the animals will get fed. Turtles don't need to be fed every day. They're 3 times a week. Okay. And the snakes are only once a week.
Wow, so you have a very detailed organization there as far as that whole scheduling goes. It must be 7 days a week that someone can come in and help assist with those animals.
Yeah. I was asked one time, do the animals need to eat every day? And some of them absolutely have to eat every day. So we do need somebody at least once a day, somebody who will come in and take care of some of the animals. Wow.
So looking ahead, Ranger Russ, I know that right now it sounds like you're doing an amazing online presence, which helps parents and everyone else, teachers and students, just the general public, which is awesome. But looking down, when we hope we're opened soon, I hope for the spring or summer, do you have goals out there, 5-year goals or other goals that we're looking ahead to happen at the Nature Center?
Absolutely. I always have big dreams. And I think that's sort of how this building was able to happen, is there was a core group of us that had a really big dream, and it took many years, but it happened. So going forward, there are some expansions I want to make onto the new building. We'd like to get a patio and some other physical things. But now we're really looking at programming and how we can expand our programming. So we would like to be doing lectures, at least 1 lecture a week. Though with this online presence that we've created, we know now that even if we're doing a live program, we're still going to have to be doing some online programs. So once we open, we're still going to do some Facebook Live programs, some YouTube programs, Zoom. All of that will continue to happen. But going forward, usually in a good year, we'll see about 25,000 people attending our live educational programs at the Nature Center. Yeah. And we see about 50,000 people walk through the Nature Center, just visit it. Yeah. I would really like to see those numbers doubled and see 100,000 people through the building and 50,000 people attending our educational programs. Yeah. So that's my personal ultimate goal. I know those are really big numbers to strive for, but I don't see why we can't reach them with the type of programs that we offer.
I agree. I think with your online presence now and all the expansion you've done with those type of programs, I could see where you actually would increase the foot traffic coming through and the people attending the lectures and the other programs, because everybody's more aware of it, which is wonderful. And getting there is amazing, though. To get in the building, I have to say, again, it's a great experience. Are you funded through donations when people come in?
That's a great question. So our funding is spread out through multiple groups and ways. The state of Connecticut funds the building, the function of the building, and the staff. Our friends of Hammonasset provide money for our programming, and the donation box that people just put their, $1 or $2 here, sometimes more, but that pays for the animal care. So we're able to spread out the costs, and one organization isn't hit with the total cost of running the building. We've also in the past gotten federal grants for some program materials, and this building is heated with geothermal, and we have solar panels, and that money was through a federal grant that the DEEP was able to get. So I'm always looking at multiple ways that we can fund.
Yeah. Yeah.
Going forward, we've got projects that we're working on with the local Audubon. Monuckatuck Audubon is going to be funding a project that we're putting on. We're redoing our outside amphitheater that we're hoping to fit lots of people for outside programs.
That'd be wonderful,
so as many groups as we can get to help, I'm always open to that.
Oh, that's a great note to end on, Ranger Russ. Thank you so much. I want to thank you for coming on and sharing your knowledge on your animals and letting us know about all the activities that are available online, because there are so many. And they're all on the website at Meigs Point Nature Center. So Ranger Russ, thank you very much again, and take care, and we hope to see you in person real soon.
Thank you. I hope we get some live people.
Me too. Till next time, take care. Bye-bye.